So the next deck we're trying here, another Aphelios deck. So along with Aphelios came a number of followers, and I think the followers plus the Aphelios himself has allowed to re-explore the sort of stun mid-range control archetype, whatever you want to call it. Basically, we're trying to see if Yasuo has a home again. Poor old Yasuo has, you know, kind of been a fringe playable champion. He's been in a number of decks that try to best utilize him, but a lot of the decks oftentimes feel kind of lackluster when you don't have a Yasuo, often because the stun effects are kind of just not good enough outside of Yasuo doing his thing and generating a little bit more value out of it, outside of a few notable exceptions such as Concussive Palm, which has found itself in some control decks just because, you know, 4 mana, stun a unit, create a 3/2 is very good. But the other kind of stun effects that you kind of want to pair Yasuo with, or the stun payoffs, such as Fey Blade Twirler, haven't really found a solid home necessarily. And so we're trying to combine Yasuo with Aphelios and some of his followers and see if that doesn't change things. Why Aphelios and his followers? Well, one of the weapons that Aphelios can generate here is Gravitum, which lets you stun an enemy and then stun it again if it's a follower. So you can get essentially a 2-for-1 stun out of 2 mana card that's generated off of this champion, which goes a great lengths, not only in leveling up Yasuo, but it really has, in my experience in the games that I've played, really allows you to kind of get favorable combat steps or set up for favorable combat steps. So I feel like this is one of the examples of a stun effect that's like good when you don't have Yasuo on the field, but great if you do. In addition to that, one of the followers Aphelios came with is this card here, the Cloven Way. 5 mana, 5/4 Overwhelm is already a pretty solid stat line. But on top of it has a Nightfall effect that stuns the enemy and stuns it again if it's a follower. So it's essentially the Gravitum effect pasted onto a decent unit. And with this unit, again, because it's a pretty aggressive unit, and this ability can like mess up their blockers for a turn or two, you can get some really favorable attacks using this card. Because we have these kind of double stun effect out of Aphelios. We're also running some super cool star charts in here. Why? 2 reasons. One, it's a burst spell that lets us enable the couple of Nightfall cards we're running. We're running Aphelios, we're running the Cloven Way we mentioned. I'm running some Crescent Guardians here because I just wanted a decent, you know, aggressive 3-drop, basically. So it lets us enable Nightfall, and some of the things that you can find off a super cool star chart actually, I think, help this deck's game plan quite a bit. So one of the things you can find with it, why don't we actually show them off here, is Crescent Strike, another double stun effect. It's kind of expensive when you can factor in that you have to spend 2 mana on the star chart to begin with, but still getting the ability to get this like double stun here, again, for helping level up Yasuo, or if he's on the field, get a lot of value off it, I think is very good. And the other things that you can get from it, I think, are pretty reasonable, considering that we're like more of well, they're just reasonable depending on the situation we find ourselves in, right? Like all the units that you can get from the star chart, because remember, it only generates things of cost 3 or less. So these are the 8 cards that it can find for us. Getting a 3/3 elusive, 4/1 overwhelm for 1, this 2/1 challenger for free, or even this 2/2 that just replaces itself. All very reasonable. Moonglow is also kind of great in this deck because oftentimes, you know, you want to be, once we get the Aphelios going, or if we get like a leveled Yasuo on the field, we want to be able to keep them around and continuing to generate value. So having a form of protection that we can put on them is very good too. And even like things like Moon Silver and Equinox are fine. You know, Moon Silver can trigger the Nightfall on the units that we have, while also, you know, reducing the cost of a card in hand. Equinox silencing a follower. There are some key followers in this game that you would rather silence. Things like Ballistic Bot is very good. Burblefish, like this is really good at dealing with some of those pesky followers. So all the hits off a super cool star chart are pretty good, and you get your choice of 3, so oftentimes we're going to find exactly what we need for the situation, but that double stun just even better in a deck like this where we're looking to get all those stun effects going. Top end, we have Infinite Mind Splitter. Trying this other new follower, the Fangs, 4 mana 3/2 with Lifesteal, help us keep us alive against the more aggressive decks. Its effect is identical to the super cool star chart, so again, just more ways to find stun effects when they're relevant, or the other effects as we need, as the situation requires. So this deck's actually really good at leveling Yasuo and continuing to generate value even after he hits the field leveled. So we have, something else we're trying in this deck is another new card that came with the Aphelios drop, this Flurry of Fists. We tried this in a aggressive deck last week actually. We're trying it here because, for one, giving permanent +1 quick attack for 3 at burst speed is pretty good, but we have a number of quick attack units already in hand that we can upgrade their keyword to double attack. Yasuo has quick attack, Aphelios gets quick attack on his level up, and our Fey Blade Twirlers, which can get very, very large very, very quickly, we can give them double attack. And what's nice about giving all these things, these units, this double attack, and giving double attack to Fey Blade Twirler, I'm not seeing that great when they could just chump block it to infinity. But what's nice is oftentimes, because we have a lot of ways to stun the units, they're going to be forced to chump block some of our bigger stuff, which lets our other things get through. But also, the other thing that Aphelios is able to generate is a card that gives Overwhelm. So even though, yes, giving these things double attack might not seem like much when they are just getting chump blocked in a lot of games anyway, the fact that we can then give them Overwhelm on top of that means that we can kind of steal games sometimes using this. That's the theory anyway. So we're going to try that and see how it goes. And that's kind of another great thing about running something here at the top end, like Infinite Mind Splitter. Yeah, it's an 8/8. It stuns 2 enemies, but then it's kind of just this big beater that's not really doing much necessarily, not really helping us to close games out as much, other than being a big, nasty threat. But the ability to give it Overwhelm suddenly makes it a lot more potent, especially after the units that we've stun locked are long gone, either because the enemies replaced them or we've killed them because of Yasuo triggers. That's pretty much all I want to say about the deck before we jump in, I guess. Guiding Touch in here to help us keep us alive against aggro, can help save our stuff from damage-based removal if they're wounded sometimes, while also replacing itself. Good Nightfall enabled because of that. Denies just feel great to have in decks against, in particular matchups. It's really good against things like Vengeances or Harrowings or Ruinations as need be. Not Harrowing, what am I saying? No, Harrowing, I guess, in those matchups, but protecting our board from things like Ruination with some denies feels good. So yeah, I guess that's all I want to say about that. Let's jump into some games and see how we do. Okay, speaking of Yasuo decks, right off the bat. Do we want a Fey Blade Twirl? Probably Hush is probably going to be pretty good in their deck. If they want to be powering up Rivens, or if they're leaning on like the quick attack to push damage off of these units, plus they can get Fey Blade Twirls of their own that can get quite big. I think this is all, I think I kind of want to keep all of this. Aphelios early is good, Concussive Bomb just solid card. I think this is a keep. Now the trouble with this deck can be that it's hard to trigger Nightfall on Aphelios early, because you have to bank spell mana, and then
don't let the fluffy tails fool you.
And then play him out. But I think we're fine most of the time just playing him straight out. And because we have this Guiding Touch in hand, for sure, we're just going to use our Life Soul as a bit of a resource here.
Try to keep up.
I think I want to start by attacking here and see what they do. It's kind of a soft pass too, like I want to see what they do and maybe it informs our turn a little bit more.
The heart and mind to aim its strike.
that's a Yasuo. That's nice. I don't know that I want to take 6 from this attack. If they open on attacks, I might actually just chump block the 3-1 with our 1-3.
Oh, it's on.
Just take 3.
Sleep is for the guiltless.
I never meant to cause you pain.
So we know as soon as they drop that, they're gonna have all 3 blade fragments in hand. Actually, I mean, once they go to the start of their next turn, we know they're gonna have it.
Some things never dull.
Yeah, we'll just open on attack here. That makes this hush in hand really nice. Because if they want to do all those things, then it's fine.
To serve the greater good.
What do we think? Ooh, 1 mana short. That would have been really good this turn. I think I'll just play this out.
I'm cold, I'm hungry, and there's rocks in me boots.
I'm sorry, who are you? The old tongues are spoken in blood. Waits.
It ends in silence.
Want to see these moves up close?
Probably want to try to hush, kill the kill Riven, I think. They probably stun it with an effect from Yasuo, I would have to assume. We're not quite at the point where we can...
Find peace in the quiet, Fel. It's just us.
Actually, let's do this. See what they do. Because they might want to do something like put might on this. They could be running something like might and like double attack. Yeah, or something like this. In which case, then we just stun in response.
Here's our chance.
Carry our faith.
These hands know metal and magic.
I think I definitely want Graviton here, so...
See as I see.
because I'm not getting extra value off of this, I'm just supposed to pick her. But I feel like he doesn't want to block with this unit, right? So...
I'm cold, I'm hungry, and there's rocks in me boots.
I'm sorry, who are you?
I've got the reins.
I know my purpose.
They must suspect that we've generated Gravitum, so I assume they're going to open attacks here and try to push as much damage as they can with stuff in hand. Yep.
No turning back now.
Big blade for a little warrior.
Underestimate me. I dare you.
Pay or bleed.
They declared your hands out.
You should stay back, cowards.
The dragon lives.
Alright, guess he had nothing.
I will regain my honor.
I like the idea of Blade of Exile with the various stun effects too, because it lets you stun the blocker and push extra damage. I guess those decks don't tend to have a ton of fast speed stun though. It's really just concussive palm. Technically they could also be running oh, what's that card called? The 5 mana stun your thing, get a big board. So assuming this is like a fearsome burn deck of some kind, probably want the 3/2. Then I think we'll just look for, we have plenty of 3s that we could draw into, so I think we just want like, yeah, something like that. Deny might be okay. This matchup as well. Especially if they're
I pulled the string.
a Harrowing deck. Definitely going to trade here if they offer it. The Guiding Touch should be decent as well. Obviously we don't want to see
From the
Infinite
dark.
Mind Splitters at the time, but... This attack could indicate that they have a second Elise in hand. Don't know that we wanted second deny Infinite Mind Splitter, but it is what it is. I'm gonna pass and see what they do. If they play a threat, we might then Guiding Touch, look for a blocker. Even if it's only giving us one of the 2 health that it could be. Assuming they're just gonna deal 5 here. Super cool star chart, huh? Might actually activate this.
Sleep is for the guiltless.
I know what lurks in the shadows.
That incentivizes me to keep Yasuo alive, so I think we're gonna block Elise. Then again, the she's gonna get quite large, eh? She just needs to see 3 things die?
No more running. I'll face my fate. Your turn.
That's concussive bomb. That's kind of nice. Huh. Actually, just gonna pass and see what they do. I'm assuming they're gonna... Do they have another one? Do that in case they have a second one. It's a lot of damage.
Hope you brought friends.
Fortunately, don't really have anything to do with our mana. These were some pretty bad draws this game, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, we don't really...
Lives.
Yeah, we wanted a deny for when we got to the point of the game when they would be playing the harrowing. We needed other stuff in the meantime to not be dead. So we're technically not dead on board. Okay, so we can go Crescent Strike these two to not be dead. And we have this Hush in hand as well, so, like, that is helpful. pretty nasty. We can still block most of their stuff.
Your attack is obvious.
I think I'm supposed to hush one of these to keep my blocker alive. Oh no, I have to do this. Keep myself alive. Never mind. Now the problem is we have this thing, and if he has like vengeance, we just lose, but sure.
Think you're fast? Cute.
Cool story. So they're running. What do they have in their deck that's PNZ? Just like a couple of mystic shots, just to push damage. Like what do they have? Legitimate question. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't really play aggro decks, and that's not one that I've seen around too often. I think I like those two. Yeah, that was a pretty close match, honestly. If we hadn't bricked on the, like, 2 denies that we drew.
No one's the wiser.
Don't let the fluffy tails fool you.
Explosives primed.
It's an annoying start, but I mean...
Oh, it's on.
I write the rules of power.
I'll play Aphelios because I can
Aphelios.
block here, trade here. See, again, this is we're kind of drawing the wrong cards for the matchups, it seems.
The power of the written word. This'll shake them.
Hello, mouse. Where are you? Go.
Mother.
Do
Wanna
this,
see
I
these
guess,
up
just in
close?
case. So we don't take 3. Sure.
Now who's got the upper hand?
I might actually Flurry of Fists this Feyblade Twirler.
Finally! Try to keep up.
Your fate was written. It is written.
I mean, him worried about taking a lot of damage, I think, meant this was essentially removal. So I think that's fine. Would like to see another stun effect. Hush is not a bad pickup, though.
To serve the greater good.
Who gets tossed?
Everybody!
Punch it! Ha-ha!
In position.
Oh, it's on.
Do I want to hush this? I don't think we need to. I think we can here. Maybe I'm supposed to use my resources this turn. I'd rather draw a card.
My axe is ready.
Doubt okay.
To serve the greater good.
I'll show the hunters.
Probably just gonna use Hush here. Again, be resource efficient. Probably should have used it the turn before. I think that this more or less gave us the same amount of health.
Ride on!
Concussive Palm's a great draw here.
No one's the wiser.
Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna go pump you up, play this on here.
My words bring power to me.
Is that worth denying? +2. No, I don't think so, actually.
Sirodech.
Yep. So they have no blockers for next turn, so that's nice. I didn't even do the math. Like, I'm not sure if they were dead to open attacks, but we probably could have just, like, played a gem, played a threat, like, played the gem, played the Crescent Guardian, and then we could have stunned a blocker that they put into play via the Concussive Palm. Just go even wider. Probably not worth it because we had a 9-powered dragon that we didn't want him to then play another thing to jump block it. Hush is really good in this matchup, actually, so I don't think I'm getting rid of that. Fey Blade Twirler. Do we like a Fey Blade Twirler early on? I think I want something bigger. I think I want to keep Yasuo, though. Okay, this is okay. Obviously, Infinite Mind Splitter, not something we want to see anytime soon, but, you know, you're going to see them early. Most games you want to see at least one of these, hence why there's 3 of them in the deck, so sometimes you're just going to draw. You're just going to draw them. They're gonna clunk up your hand a little bit sometimes. And it could be that we don't want 3 of them. Maybe 2 is fine, and then we could want like maybe a 3rd Hush, depending on the matchup, because the games with this deck tend to go a little bit longer.
Strength and grace.
So,
Beauty in the play.
excuse me.
With every step,
I might.
2 steps.
I have a feeling that if I just pass there, they pass back and burn 3 of my mana. So I don't want to let them attack first and then not get this value. But if they want to do this and then try to pump it up, I still have this Hush. It does mean I'm burning the Hush on this and not a Fiora down the line potentially. So maybe that's a reason not to do this, but
Moonlight has illuminated their fate, Aphelios.
next turn we're gonna play Yasuo. Wow, that worked out well for us.
Death is like the wind, always by my side.
Not gonna attack in if they pass because I don't want to have to be forced to use a Hush
The balance requires
on
watchful
a barrier effect or the like. So here, what we're gonna see them do is probably open attacks, barrier this, challenge the 3/3, I think. Maybe it's worth attacking in, actually. Is it? Because even if he takes 4 here, well, he risks us killing him off with a stun effect of some
Find
kind.
peace in the quiet, Fel. It's just
I think
us.
I'm just supposed to pass. Ooh. Deny, pretty good pickup. There's a chance I'm supposed to proactively Hush Shen and then Cloven Way if he gives me the opportunity. I don't think so, though. Uses up all of my mana for the turn, and I'm not getting as much value off of the Hush as I would like. And it exposes us to something like a Concerted Strike on our Yasuo or Aphelios. Yasuos? Aphelios. That's what I call it.
So I go.
The debating what he wants to kill here, I guess. Yeah, now I think we want to use the Hush for sure. Spending a lot of resources on that. Okay.
Carry our faith.
I do think I want a Cloven Way now. Really? Okay. Wow, our opponent had quite the hand. That's a weird bug. I'm assuming it's not there though. They're probably just gonna take 5 here, which is fine. Maybe, no, probably doesn't matter. They have another one, another barrier plus something for Shen. That would be unfortunate. think I'm gonna end the round.
Think you're fast? Cute.
It must be done.
They're probably gonna play protection anyway, so I'm just gonna attack with everything. Like, I'm probably gonna want to end up stunning this no matter what, so. And I'm assuming they're being pretty as conservative as they have been because they're wanting to hold up a deny themselves.
Understood. It is not yet their time.
Do I care about this?
Where'd she go?
Now who's got the upper hand?
They are under my protection.
Probably just gonna play another Infinite Mind Splitter. Oh, he's debating using a single combat. If I let this die, I just Infinite Mind Splitter these two again, and then this doesn't have good blocks. This is play or attack. Yeah, I think this is fine, actually.
Underestimate. I dare you. Now who's got the upper hand?
With this deny here, I don't think we can lose this game. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he could have like single combat, couple denies himself. I don't know. So probably very much like the other deck we played before. Maybe I'm just supposed to mulligan all of this looking for early game. The problem against the fearsome aggro decks is that we don't have very many good 2-drops to block their stuff. These are both really bad in this matchup. Yeah, this is probably just an awful matchup for us because we just have... Our draws are probably don't consistently line up well into what they're doing. Guiding touches are nice, but not super great. I think we're just gonna pass. I think we do this because There's a good chance we don't have a play next turn, and then we lose spell mana anyway. I guess it doesn't matter. We just do. Okay, that's not bad. Trade here, which is nice. Unless they have a Vile Feast. The other deck was running Vile Feast, so... sure. This just means that this gets to kill a fearsome unit later down the line then. Or as a blocker for next turn, either way. Probably if playing Yasuo then, since they don't have a good open attack, so may as well block with a Yasuo, then it turns our Concussive Palm into removal against one of their fearsomes, which is nice. They snap took something. I see, I see. So we're just gonna play a bunch of those out then? Kuri Suka Miki, thank you very much for the follow, I appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. I think, we'll just do this. Use our resources, block their stuff, kill their stuff. Or life goal high. I will let you know that you can check out my my YouTube channel. The link to which is below the stream. I will post all of my streams on that YouTube channel. Sorry, I don't know why I'm having trouble speaking here. Concentrating too much on what they could be doing and trying to explain. I post all of my streams on my YouTube channel after every stream, broken up by deck type. So if you're interested in seeing any of the decks we played today, or decks you've missed from today's stream that you may have missed, or in the past that you may have missed, that's the place to go. I guess I'll do this now because it kills one of their threats and provides us a blocker. And if they want to continue to go wide, we'll play the Crescent Guardian next. Unfortunately, 1 mana short from doing other things.
You cannot win.
I alone decide my fate.
Yep, I think we want to do this. At this point, it feels like we're definitely in the market for a deny, so that we
Some things never dull.
Yeah, he's definitely playing a Harrowing next turn, it feels like. So really would like to draw... Deny, which we didn't. Let's play this. Ugh, not quite what I was looking for. I was hoping we'd get the double stun. So with that draw then, I guess we just go wide and play the Charger. Deny off the top one time. No. Double Concussive Bomb pretty good at with our 8 mana though. They did not get quite the things that they were looking for. We'll kill the permanent threats. Deal. Unfortunately, we lose our thing. This could generate us more health in the long run. So
I see every move.
actually, they tend not to run. They probably don't have traditional forms of reach, so I think we just do this. That is a Flurry of Fists. On our Yasuo, that's 10 damage, and that's another 10 right there. So if they don't have interaction, they're actually dead here. We'll play out the Fey Blade Twirler, and then we'll see.
Big
do.
blade for a little warrior.
Underestimate me. I dare you.
Okay, draw. So we can hush one of these, and then it dies to thingy. This can block here, this can block here,
Your attack is
you
obvious.
can block there, you can block there.
I see every move.
They could go down to 3 if we really wanted to. We have this in hand. This thing doesn't show. It's hitting both of these.
Here's our chance. Underestimate me. I dare you.
Some things never dull.
Boom.
I will regain my honor.
Yeah, we're already at like 55 minutes with this deck, so we're gonna probably switch to a new one after this match. We'll see. We might do a couple more with this one, since I'm only planning on playing 3 decks today and only do 4. I might give each deck a little bit more time. I think I want life gain, but probably not that one. Still would like to get off to kind of an early aggressive start if we can. Okay, so we're gonna bank a spell mana, then we're gonna play Mountain Goat, then we can Crescent Guardian attack if we don't want the +2, but I think I would like to try to get that. Could also just Guiding Touch activate Crescent Guardian is an option.
Another day in the field.
Turn 1 Teemo is going to be really bad for this deck a lot of the time. We don't have
I'll scout ahead.
easy ways of dealing with that.
Doesn't mean everything.
Now we can actually play a Guiding Touch of Aphelios. Or just play Aphelios.
Remember our promise, Aphelios.
We just play Aphelios actually. The Fangs.
Winter take you.
Sure. Thermal Beam? Yeah, totally. That's fine by me. Probably want to go Guiding Touch Aphelios here. Start with Calibrum into Severum, I think, of what our plan is.
See as I see.
Save the homestead.
The scene tells me all I need. Beg your pardon?
Oh, if mushrooms could talk.
I'll have what he's having.
He's probably not attacking in with that. I might go... I think I'm supposed to stun the Teemo here. With this Cloven Way? Is that true?
Follow the wind, but watch your back.
No, it's definitely Yasuo because now we can Steel Tempest. Yeah. We're just gonna end the round then. Don't care about that one bit. He had 3 mana up when he decided not to attack with this. This suggests to me that he doesn't have,
I never use my goggles either.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fortunately, these gems are clogging up our hand.
I've always been a fun guy. Check me out.
Firing!
So we are gonna lose a bunch of draws here, unfortunately. But... that's a fine one to lose.
Hey, Mum, still like a yodel in uniform.
I love the smell of mushrooms in the morning.
Unfortunately, there's no way for me to level that up in response. Super cool star chart doesn't do anything. What do we want to play, if anything? I don't think there's much we can play. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. We're in a rough spot for sure. I gotta play like double fangs next turn to not die to stuff, but like we're dying to these. We just have to pass.
A true Freljordian welcome.
Sleep is for the guiltless.
Oh, that's a harvest right there.
Maybe I do have a future.
Oh wow, that's so unfortunate. I guess I should have gemmed this first, huh? Yeah.
Always believed in second chances.
I don't think it mattered. Like, we were probably drawing too many mushrooms to stop them at that point. We'll try one more, see if we can get a win. That deck is really obnoxious against ours. Our decks that looking to, like, generate a lot of card advantage. Just burning it out of your hand, that's pretty obnoxious. Definitely, you know, that Hex Core Foundry, very good in their decks. They were already really good in their decks once they got a lot of mushrooms in your hand because of, you know, that kind of broke the symmetry of the card. But the fact that they're like extra good against cards that want a full hand is something. Cloven Way will probably be good at some point to help us push damage, but for now I think we just want to curve out. Do they have Sentry? Are we gonna get in a hit for 3 here? Clean hit for 3 would be nice because it means we could then gem something Crescent Guardian the following turn, but unfortunately it's not looking like we could do that. If they attack, we'll just pass. Life total doesn't matter much.
See the Damascene border from here.
Yep, their draw is really good against our start. Makes me kind of wish I'd kept the Fey Blade Twirler. I don't think that's correct, but I think we blocked 1. As I said, I would like to go gem into Crescent Guardian the next turn and see what they do. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. Gem this, Crescent Guardian, see if we can push some damage. It's almost certainly gonna be our last match with this deck if our opponent's gonna be playing this slow. They're already a control deck, they're already like playing slow, so.
Look out for Reavers! Light the signal fires! It's potentially quite good. That's what they got going on.
Here in your time of need.
Ooh, Deny's great. Okay. Deny's pretty great. Alright. Sweet. So they're going to open attacks to pop the spell shield with the Anivia trigger. And then potentially Ruination us. But now we have this deny hold up, so that's really great. Which means we can play a bunch of threats out too. You could also try to Vengeance us, I suppose.
Snow, wind, and ice.
May as well block, because this is dying anyway. Right, this kills, doesn't matter whether or not it's in combat. We'll play the Fangs out first, I think. Is that true?
A world in perfect stillness.
What can we? We can play that. We can't play this and hold up deny. Start with this since it's not expensive. Do I want to throw this into an Anivia? I don't think so.
I protect this place.
Now I can do this to push more damage, develop the board a bit more.
Brace yourselves.
Is this worth playing if it's just gonna die to an Anivia? Probably not.
Eternal winter. Let's soar.
Your attack is obvious.
They could still play Avalanche to kill these, and then they have a 1-1 to block our 8-8, unfortunately. But I think we're supposed to make them... we're supposed to do what I just did there. A second deny. Wow, that's really good. What could they do? Because I'm kind of tempted to Concussive Palm this. Then they play something expensive, then we just deny. Start with this. Crescent Strike's really good. Charger lets us go wide. Charger's bad in the face of Avalanche, which they could reasonably play, and I don't think we want to deny the Avalanche because that could be bait, because I think could still play Ruination right after. Maybe we'll go Crescent Strike. They might start by playing a blocker, and then we can Crescent Strike two of them. Oh wait, I guess we can't do that and hold up deny. Shit. Yeah, I guess I should have thought about that. If I could Crescent Strike here, that would be amazing, but I can't. Okay. There's attack then. I'll jump block here and probably just take the damage. And then... we'll see. Harsh Wind. Or... Grasp. I think I have to let that happen. It's gonna die to the Anivia trigger anyway. Yeah.
What will you have?
This is our time!
We burn, then kindle anew.
Well, then I just do this. We'll deny an Avalanche here if they have it.
How about another round? Who's gonna close that door?
Don't let the fluffy tails fool you.
Return to us.
Underestimate. I dare you.
With purpose.
Pick on someone your own speed.
I don't want for this to trade into here because Avalanche killing this would be bad. I guess it's only locking down a 1/1 currently, so that's not that big of a deal. I haven't had Avalanche up to this point, so... I guess they open attacks, kill that. But, it's not even that big of a deal.
I I protect this place.
Oh, they're not.
I will be reborn. A new era begins.
Their light flickers.
So I can't use deny on this. That would be silly. I think I'm actually fine you going here though. And then throwing this away.
We burn, then kindle anew.
The brighter my light, the stronger your shadow. I declare your reigns come.
Now who's got the upper hand? Underestimate me. I dare you.
Place.
I will endure. I protect this place.
Too bad you can't deny those. I think we played as well as we could have, considering
Do not fear, Aphelios. I'm with you.
the deck that they're playing and the draws that they have. Oop, no, I think we're done with this one. Yeah, this is a fun one too. I like I said, like having deny up in those matchups feels great. Obviously, because of harsh wins, it doesn't feel as meaningful as it might otherwise. But I still think it's a solid reason to be pairing. I mean, it's a solid reason to just be in Ionia, period. But I don't know. This is a fun pairing of Aphelios Yasuo with all this various stun effects we have. You know, if we had if our opponent doesn't draw quite as well as they do, I think we win there. The fact that they just had like running rekindlers and harsh winds on top of that to beat what we had going, I think is very. They needed those specific draws. I think outside of that we can do a little bit better. You know, because if they just get a bunch of like simple chump blockers, we just go so much wider around what they're doing. But the fact that they're able to generate like two blockers with 7 mana, and one of those blockers like we have to lock down with stuns, otherwise it's going to ruin our board like every turn. I mean, that's the power of that control deck, right? But in other matchups, you know, off to like aggressive decks that get off to a really crazy start seem to give us trouble. It's not surprising we don't have any 1-drops, and we only have the Mountain Goats here as a 2-drop that can block meaningfully. The Fey Blade Twirl is kind of inadequate in a lot of cases, especially against fearsome units. With that in mind, you know, maybe if you want it to be better in those matchups, you could take a look at the earlier, like some of these cards and change things around. Flurry of Fists kind of helped us in the one game, but I think we were winning that one anyway. Otherwise, it didn't feel that great a lot of the times. Yeah, it kind of was okay in that one matchup against the fearsome aggro deck. It let us block when we otherwise wouldn't have, and trade with one of their things. And then later on a Yasuo, it was that the same game? I think that was the same game where we got a Yasuo a five power Yasuo with double attack that helped us close the game out. But I think we were winning that game anyway. So just imagining that this was something else, like a Hush would have been similar in that one instance, and then like something else that lets us, that lets us stabilize in the early game a little bit more might have been better. So this is definitely a card I would look at, maybe considering changing. But I know I would play more games with this deck as is before making any changes, because at the very least, like I said, this was a really fun combination of cards. So we'll end. We'll go on to the next and last deck of the day.